This is a stimulus check update and daily news report. I'll give you the latest of what's going on with the senior citizen stimulus checks. Child tax credit payments are going out this week. When it comes to the debt ceiling extension vote, it passed in the Senate last week and expected to have a vote in the House tomorrow to fully pass it before the October 18th deadline. I'm going to play a video clip from Republican Senator Barrasso about the debt ceiling extension vote, which he did as a Republican, as well as the $3.5 trillion package and his perspective. I'm going to clear up the rumors about the IRS being able to spy in people's bank accounts that have $600 or more in there. I'll let you know if that's true or not. Also play a video clip from Pramila Jayapal about the $3.5 trillion package moving forward. Then I'll answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Hope you're having a more than mundane Monday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So the child tax credit improves savings for 33% of families. Data shows what to do if you're struggling. So child tax credits are coming out this week. I thought this was really interesting here. As a result of these monthly payments, parents getting child tax credit funds were 33% more likely to add $100 to their savings and 18% less likely to need to significantly reduce their savings balances in August 2021 compared to August 2020. So these payments are going out on the 15th, as they have been the 15th of almost every month since it started to happen. So be on the lookout for those checks. IRS is still saying that if you have direct deposit, that you may get a paper check. Personally, we have direct deposit with the IRS, and we got a paper child tax credit payments for our two daughters last month. So yeah, we never know what could happen. Be on the lookout for that. When it comes to the senior citizen stimulus check, so senior citizen advocacy group tells Congress that Social Security recipients should get $1,400 stimulus payment. This is the latest article for that $1,400 stimulus check. So this is from the Senior Citizens League, and they asked Congress for $1,400 stimulus checks for Social Security recipients who are seniors. So what they're saying is, there's no Congress support yet. No Congress members have come out and said, yes, I endorse $1,400 stimulus checks for seniors. Still hasn't happened yet, despite the Senior Citizens League constantly trying to get people to sign up for the petition, trying to lobby Congress members, but still has not caught on yet. When it comes to the big fourth $2,000 per month stimulus check at change.org, it's currently at 2,923,000 signatures. Still not part of the big package yet, and no politicians as of recently have endorsed the fourth stimulus check. So I'll keep you updated on that as well. When it comes to the big debt limit hike and the extension, the House is expected to vote on it tomorrow, Tuesday, and hopefully it passes, so then we don't have any troubles before the October 18th deadline. Assuming everything goes according to plan, then the vote that passes in the House tomorrow, Tuesday, it's just going to extend the debt limit until December 3rd, basically delaying all the problems. So all the headaches that surrounded this debt ceiling hike, as well as the government shutdown, it's just going to happen again in December. Democrats on controversial Schumer speech, saying the timing may not have been the best. So right after the Republicans, there was actually 11 Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, they reached out a helping hand to Democrats to try to extend, or they did extend the debt ceiling hike in the Senate for that vote, at least until December. Chuck Schumer, rather than a thank you, basically bashed Republicans. That's the scene where Joe Manchin put his hands in his head. So Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, said that, frankly, I agree with the reasons Senator Schumer was so frustrated that the standoff over the debt limit was risky, was unnecessary, was a manufactured crisis, but partly when Senator Manchin had his head in his hands, was he thinks our leader should be talking to each other directly, and all of us agree that we need more stability in our Congress and our country. So while I completely understand the President Schumer's deep frustration, the timing may not have been the best. So that's his nice way of saying that he doesn't agree with Chuck Schumer. Let me know your thoughts on that, how Chuck Schumer's speech went. Mitch McConnell, as a result of that speech, threatens to block another debt ceiling hike and lashes out at Schumer's bizarre spectacle, basically saying that because the Republicans reached out, they're not going to help the Democrats again. Here is Republican Senator Barrasso on the issue of the debt ceiling vote extension, Chuck Schumer's response, as well as the $3.5 trillion package. I think it's really important to get multiple perspectives here. Here it is.
I want to talk about that spending bill, but first, let me get your reaction to what happened when Chuck Schumer pretty much blasted the Republicans on the Senate floor the other day. We could visibly see Joe Manchin in the background putting his head in his hands and then walking out. I mean, the Democrats did not really need the Republicans' help. They could have raised the debt ceiling on their own. And even after you came across the aisle, came up with this deal, Chuck Schumer said this. Let's take a listen.
Leader McConnell and Senate Republicans insisted they wanted a solution to the debt ceiling, but said Democrats must raise it alone by going through a drawn-out, convoluted and risky reconciliation process. That was simply unacceptable to my caucus.
Your reaction, Joe Manchin there in the backdrop, putting his head in his hands, Senator.
Well, you're absolutely right. It was a tantrum by Chuck Schumer, and he is known to be a bully. He loves to bully even his own caucus. I think just looking at Joe Manchin, how disturbed he was by what happened. A number of Democrats came up to me, including calling me over the weekend to apologize for the terrible behavior of Chuck Schumer. We've made it clear. Look, they want to use this process of reconciliation to pass their massive tax and spending bill. Well, they're going to have to use that process as well if they ever want to raise the debt ceiling again.
So what do you think? Do you think they will get something through? I know Senator Manchin has said that he would be agreeable to something capped at $1.5 trillion. You've made an important point recently that it's not just the cost, it's what's in it. So talk to us about whether you believe Manchin and Sinema will hold up and not agree to anything substantial in terms of beyond 1.5, not that $1.5 trillion is not substantial, and what's in the plan?
Yeah. Well, as you last week showed the picture of me holding up this massive bill,
yes.
2,500 pages, $1.4 billion per page. And to me, there are a couple of different parts of it. One is this just massive expansion of government's role in our life. Cradle to grave, sun up to sundown, and all night long, government is going to be more involved, sending out money, often to people who don't even need it. It's a complete takeover and massive spending to a level that we've never seen before. That's about 1/3 of it. The next part is the massive taxes that they need to pay for it. And we're talking about 40 different taxes, including all of this extra money for the IRS. And Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, wants to use it to hire an army of IRS agents to spy on Americans' checking accounts, banking accounts. And then the third part is the real attack on American energy, which is going to make energy costs go up harder and more expensive to drive your car, to heat your home. And here we are on a day when energy prices today at the pump are the highest they've been in 7 years. You ask specifically about, go ahead.
No, please continue, sir.
You asked, is it going to make it easier or harder to pass it? Remember, Maria, they wanted to get this done last summer. I was on with you in June, and I said, well, if they do, it's going to be a long, hot summer. Now they're hoping to get it done by November. They're entering their winter of discontent. They have a long way to go.
So I want to ask you about energy, but before I get there, real quick on these big federal programs that you've discussed, what kind of free money is going to be coming to people? I know there's major, child care support, there's elder support, a free community college. Go through some of those programs that once they're in place, isn't it true that they don't go away after a year?
Well, that's actually the absolute bottom line of what we're looking at here. And in a way to try to lower the price tag, they're saying, well, we'll just start them small and let them grow over time. You and I know, Maria, once you get a federal government program in place, it's very hard for it to ever go away. So everything you mentioned is in there. The question is, how much are they going to start funding? But their goal is a complete takeover of the lives of the American people, which is why I call it big government socialism, and it is an expansion of government and an addiction to government like we have never even contemplated or seen before. And Joe Biden has surrendered to this socialist wing of the party, even to the point of holding hostage bridges, ports, airports, highways, things that the American people actually want.
Let me know your thoughts on what Senator Barrasso said. Do you agree, disagree? So he mentioned one thing about the IRS being able to spy into people's bank accounts. I want to clear up that rumor. So the facts around an IRS proposal, some claim would allow spying on Americans' bank accounts. So some people say that if you have more than $600, that the IRS could look into your bank account. Here's a video clip verifying whether or not that's true with some sources and facts.
If you have at least $600 sitting in your bank account, the IRS could end up monitoring your spending. You've been asking us about this new regulation, a part of President Joe Biden's proposed tax reform that is raising questions about privacy. Let's verify. A THV11 Verify viewer wrote in asking, after seeing some banks posting on social media that the IRS is going to start making them report all deposits and withdrawals over $600, can you tell me if this is true? Our sources, the U.S. Department of Treasury, testimony from the IRS Commissioner, and Congressman Steve Womack. At the end of April, President Joe Biden announced the American Families Plan, included in the proposal, tax reform. Back on June 8th, in a testimony to the Senate Finance Committee, IRS Commissioner Charles Reddick lays out what would be included in the plan. You can see here, financial institutions would be responsible for reporting your withdrawals and deposits, breaking down physical cash, transactions with a foreign account, and transfers to and from another account with the same owner. Now, this would apply to all business and personal accounts with at least $600 in it. According to the testimony, the purpose of this plan would be to improve tax administration and provide the IRS with a blueprint to address various facets of the tax gap. The plan, however, has been met with major criticism. Arkansas Congressman Steve Womack joined other lawmakers in writing a letter expressing their concern with the data collection proposal, saying, quote, the requirements of this proposal would impose significant compliance costs on our banks, credit unions, and related financial institutions, but also infringe on the privacy of millions of Americans. So we can verify, yes, it is true that under President Biden's proposed legislation, the IRS would have access to more information on accounts with more than $600 in them. Keep in mind, this proposal still has to make its way through Congress, so things could change.
So the scary truth is that it is true that the IRS will be able to spy into your bank account if you have $600 or more in that account, meaning that if this $3.5 trillion package passes, that the IRS will be able to do that. And almost everybody has $600 in their bank account. What Janet Yellen, who's a Treasury Secretary, said in response to this, saying banks already report directly to the IRS the interest that they pay on account when it exceeds $10. And this is not a proposal to provide detailed transaction level data by banks to the IRS. So that's what she says, you know, sort of saying it's not a big deal. I think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a good idea that the banks have access to information, but maybe I could be wrong. What are your thoughts on that? Should the banks have access to your information if you have $600 or more in the account, or should that be private? Let me know your thoughts on that. Moving on, so Pramila Jayapal, the Progressive Caucus leader for the Democrats, saying Biden agrees with $3.5 trillion reconciliation price tag despite lower top line proposals. So over this past week, it's been constantly back and forth. President Biden saying he's happy with $2 trillion, while progressive Democrats and Bernie Sanders are saying that they wanted $3.5 trillion, Joe Manchin, 1.5, numbers going everywhere. So we don't know what's going to happen, and we have an October 31st deadline. It doesn't seem like we're getting any closer to an agreement. Liberal Democrats have become the mainstream of the party and less willing to compromise with dwindling moderates. So it's basically the progressives versus the moderates. The moderates are in the minority of the Democratic Party. It seems that the progressives have taken over. A lot of fighting within the Democrat Party. I don't like seeing fighting in general because that means the more fighting they are with each other, the less that they're helping the American people. And that's what the whole point of Congress is about, to help the American people, not try to get one over on the next person or the next party. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Here's the video clip of Pramila Jayapal.
Congresswoman, great to see you as always. So Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, whose support Democrats need to pass the Biden agenda, said that Schumer's remarks were not appropriate and that, quote, civility is gone and I'm not going to be part of getting rid of it. I'm sure that you don't disagree with what Schumer said, but do you disagree with the idea that lowering the temperature right now might be a good thing for the country?
Well, Jake, it's good to be with you. I do think that, we're all playing on the same team. I do understand Senator Schumer's frustration because this has always been a bipartisan thing, raising the debt ceiling. Democrats have gone along with Republican administrations, vice versa. This is, of course, about debt that was increased by $8 trillion over the last 4 years because of Republican administration. There were Republican tax cuts. But, I always say if you win, maybe just win and celebrate the win, and then you can always bring those things up later. But I can only imagine the stress that the Senate Majority Leader has been under to get to this point. So let's just move on now. We did that. We gave us a couple of extra months. It's not the ideal thing. I wish we weren't just kicking the can down the road, but it's important that we don't default on this. And that the world knows that the United States is good for our obligations.
So this temporary reprieve allows Democrats to focus on passing President Biden's economic plans, the infrastructure bill, and of course the Build Back Better Act. According to the AP, you told President Biden that the compromise for the Build Back Better Act of around $2 trillion, it's too low, you said. You think it needs to be closer to $3 trillion. If you cannot get it through the Senate, though, if the only way you can get it through the Senate to get Manchin's vote, to get Sinema's vote, is having it be at $1.9 or $2 trillion, isn't something better than nothing?
Well, Jake, I always think about that something better than nothing phrase as being good for something at the end of negotiations. We haven't even negotiated yet. There was a deal that was passed. It was $3.5 trillion. Now we understand the number has to come down because there are 2 Democrats out of all. 98% are there on 3.5 and what's in the Build Back Better Act, and with the president and with 70% of the American people who want us to pass it. But I understand we got to get 2 more on board. And so we will do what we need to do to make sure we get everybody on board. But I just want to be clear, the number comes out of the programs. So what we really need, and Senators Manchin and Sinema have different things that they each want. So I think it's really important that the 2 of them get together and agree, and then also put forward a proposal to the other 98% about what they agree on in terms of what we need to do, because everyone else agrees. And so that's the process we're in right now. We will negotiate. We understand we have to get everyone on board. But yes, of course, I want to keep it as close as I can to at least $3 trillion because, we have a lot of things we want to do.
What are your thoughts on what she had to say? Do you agree, disagree? It's definitely a different perspective from Senator Barrasso, which I shared earlier. And on this channel, I like to give multiple perspectives. Haven't really heard much from Republicans lately, which is the reason why I haven't shared many Republican clips. But as there are Republican clips, I like to share both. I think it's important to have a well-balanced perspective so you see it from multiple angles. Next, I'm going to answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Angela Lanos asks, I just don't understand why they can't help us with a 4th stimulus check. So that means we aren't getting any money, only parents with children. That is not fair at all. We need help too. Yeah, so there's definitely a group of people in this country who are struggling, who could definitely use the help. And at this point, you're right, it's just mainly parents and children. There is the fight for the senior citizen $1,400 stimulus check, but that's not really going anywhere. They're fighting for it. No politicians are fighting for it, just mainly the group and getting a lot of press for it. Next question comes from Kendrick Daniels. When Louisiana residents be getting another $1,400 stimulus check this month? No, so Louisiana, not sure what's going on there, but there is no $1,400 stimulus check for everyone, and it's definitely not going out this month, and it hasn't made it into the big package yet. Terry Winkle, are all of the UBI programs available only to households with children? No, that's not true. I've looked at a bunch of universal basic income and guaranteed income programs. Some are just going to ex-convicts that are out of jail. Some are going to artists. Some are going to senior citizens. It's really a big mix. I would say the majority of them want at least one child in the household, but it really depends on the city, the mayor, who's giving out the money, how it all works. But yeah, definitely take a look and see if there's any in your area and, you know, if you could apply for it or not. Anyways, that is all the stimulus news I have for you today. To hopefully brighten your day a bit, here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Guys, I'm so happy that you guys like my video clips. I'm so excited. Thank you for doing that. I'm so excited. Do you like my dress? Comment down below if you do.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate the support. Here is a throwback clip of the kids and the fam from back in the day. I like looking at these clips and sharing them with you guys because I know you guys kind of like them too. Anyways, if you want to check out any of my other videos, you could click up here for my other 2 channels, Wise Vibes, Wise Sense, actually a 3rd channel now, Wise Buys, or down here for stimulus updates, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.